Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Gundogan's exit from FC Barcelona. This is breaking news. None of us expected for Gundogan to truly leave this club. Like, we have heard some stories, we have heard some reports about Gundogan leaving, but never did we ever think that it was going to happen for sure in this summer. So I'm going to be reading you guys exactly what every reporter had to state about Gundogan's departure. And so it does say here, according to Adria Albets, that Gundogan has now agreed to leave FC Barcelona. They wait for offers. Gundogan is open to the idea of returning to Manchester City. Ben Ayad also claimed Gundogan always knew that the club wouldn't mind him leaving. Alex Pintanel also claimed it is true that Gundogan has opened the doors to leaving. He doesn't want to be a problem for the club. And here are going to be a list of teams that are interested in Gundogan. There are teams in Saudi Arabia that do want him, but it is ruled out for now. City are interested but don't have a proposal as of now. Galatasaray, a team in Turkey, is also an option and being managed by Gundogan and his camp. And then finally, with FC Barcelona, they don't rule him out leaving for free since they want to clear up some wages. Now we do have David Ornstein, who has claimed there has been clubs from the Premier League, Turkey, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia who have all shown interest in Gundogan. So Gundogan is coming in with great demand. And then finally, we have a couple of sources coming from Spain claiming Barcelona will try a lot to sell players between now and the end of the market. Depending on the success they achieve with these sales, they can meet several objectives, from the most urgent one to registering Dani Olmo to the most ambitious one, which is to sign a brand new left winger. Then we do have Fabrizio Romano claiming Manchester City have made contacts with Gundogan now over a potential return for the German midfielder. City and Guardiola are open to considering bringing Gundogan back to the club. Barcelona wanted Gundogan to leave and also received approaches from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and more clubs. So every report is saying one thing: Man City are interested, Gundogan is open to leaving, and Barcelona are open to letting go of the player. And most likely, Gundogan is going to be returning to Manchester City. And so let's talk about this, right? Because once again, it's huge news. Gundogan left Manchester City for free in the summer of 2023. And because Gundogan has hit all of his appearances with Barcelona last season, his contract has automatically extended for another 12 months. It was originally a 2-year deal, but because Gundogan made more than a certain amount of appearances last season under Xavi Hernandez, which was 51, his contract does not end until 2026. And looking back at his season with FC Barcelona, he has played 51 matches, scored 5 goals, and provided 14 assists. It's a spectacular season, a season that no one is ever going to forget. He was truly one of the most important players for Barcelona, and I do think that it is the second best season he has had statistically overall. In terms of numbers, the only season that does beat his first season with FC Barcelona is the 2020-2021 season, where he played 46 matches, which is 5 matches less than what he did with Barcelona, but scored 17 goals and provided 4 assists, being involved in a total of 21 goals. Gundogan with Barcelona was also considered to be in first place in the league and 5th place within the top 5 leagues in terms of key passes with a total of 97. He was also in 2nd place in the league and 10th place in the top 5 leagues when it comes to shot creating actions, which was a total of 166. Last season under Xavi, he also played different roles. He played as a 6 or sometimes as a number 8. He preferred to always play as a number 8, but sometimes there were demands for him to play as a 6 because simply Xavi Hernandez was limited in player availability. But as we saw him play as a 6 with Barcelona, you can truly tell that he did not show up with the demands to play as a 6. Like, his counter pressing was good, but embracing counters, he could not keep up with it, which was understandable because at his age, you cannot run as much as you used to. But he still showed a lot of qualities like leadership, like maturity, like the experience. And I remember he criticized some Barcelona players and even the board during the post-match interview against Real Madrid last year. And he stated that he did not come here to lose these type of games. He wanted more frustration from the players, more anger from the players, to show more emotion when you lose in this type of way. So Gundogan was very self-accountable, and this is why many of us do appreciate what Gundogan did for us last season. So it makes you wonder, right, why would Barcelona sell the player? So we are going to be dividing this into 2 different conversations: the sporting reason and the financial reason. Starting with the sporting reason, Barcelona are entering a brand new era with a brand new coach, and I think that that is a fact. We can all agree on that. Hansi Flick, who is the brand new coach of FC Barcelona, wants to play attacking football. He wants to be intense. He wants the players to press throughout the whole 90 minutes. He even said that during the preseason, to press throughout the whole 90 minutes. If you lose any sort of intensity for just even a minute, he will drop you. So he wants that. He wants great defending. He wants great athleticism from the players. He wants the players to know how to counterattack and counterattack very effectively and vertically and defend the counters if you do lose the ball. When you are a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 system or in a 4-3-3, which is the position that Gundogan was going to take, you are considered to be the first line of press. And when you have Lewandowski Lewandowski in front of you. Can you imagine what that press would look like with Gundogan as the 10 and Lewandowski as the number 9? The press will not be that effective. And can you imagine what would happen when you lose the ball when you are trying to counterattack the opposition? You have to track back. You have to cover so many spaces. Can you imagine trying to do that with Gundogan and Lewandowski? It wouldn't make any sense. So Gundogan brings a lot of things and great things on the ball, but his off the ball qualities is at a very low level. And Hansi Flick does see this as a huge problem. He believes that Fermin Lopez, Gavi, Dani Olmo, and Pedri do have the capacity to bring the qualities that he does require for a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 system or in a 4-3-3 system. It's not Gundogan's fault, by the way, because he's 33 years old. He's turning 34 years old in about 2 months, which is in October. So I don't blame him. Age does catch up to every player, and especially when you are in a situation where your team needs to flow extremely fast with everything off the ball and on the ball. Now, under Xavi Hernandez, Gundogan was okay. His off the ball work and movement was not exposed as much because under Xavi Hernandez with Barcelona, all you had to do was maintain possession, relax, pass horizontally. You don't have to be that vertical. No reason to be high risk with the ball, which did not allow for Xavi Hernandez to lose the ball in dangerous ways. So Gundogan was okay under those type of predicaments and requirements. This is the reason why he was used the most last season with 2,994 minutes played. But like I've said, under Hansi Flick and what he's trying to build at this club, he does not see the athleticism, the energy, and the pressing coming from Lewandowski and Gundogan together. I also don't see great pressing abilities coming from those two players, and it's going to greatly harm Barcelona during some games. The only players I would see pressing up top and in the final third would be coming from Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, or Lamine Yamal and Dani Olmo, but we still need other players. So it's very understandable why Barcelona, Hansi Flick, and Deco are saying, hey look, Gundogan, you are a great player, a phenomenal player, but you are going to be taking a step down because we are going to be prioritizing other youngsters like Fermin, like Gavi, like Olmo, and like Pedri. Now let's talk about the financials, right? Because look, Barcelona clearly do have certain financial constraints, and this is one of the things that has been highlighted the most in the media. Everybody has been saying it is solely because Barcelona want to free up some wages and because it's financial reasons why they want to let go of Gundogan, right? They're trying to make it seem like Barcelona have bad intentions with this player, and they're trying to be self-interested mostly about how much money they could make, which is not the case, right? We have just talked about the sporting reasons, but yes, part of the reason and part of the factors on why Gundogan is leaving is because of the financials. Gundogan currently earns 18.7 million euros a year, which makes him the third highest paid player in Barcelona. In first place comes Frankie de Jong with 37 million euros, and Lewandowski comes in with 33 million euros. If Gundogan does leave, it's going to open up the wage bill by a huge margin, because if he truly is going to be with us and he was set to stay with us until 2026, that would mean that Barcelona would need to spend 37 million euros total for the next 2 years. Now you may ask, but Kevin, why would Barcelona even offer that in the first place? Like, that's my problem, Kevin. I don't understand why they would even offer him that amount when they couldn't even commit to it 1 year later. And let me tell you, Barcelona can afford those wages. Like, they truly can. But when you have a coach that comes in with brand new ideas, like I've stated before, and that coach tells you Gundogan is going to be the third to fourth option within the number 10 position, you as the president or you as the financial advisor of Barcelona, you're going to be looking at that salary that is being spent on the player and say, this is a liability to us. There is no reason for us to be spending this amount of money per season, which is 18.7 million euros a season, and have him be the fourth to fifth option. Maybe under Xavi Hernandez, yes, it would have been worth it because of his playing style, but Gundogan and his role has changed under Hansi. Even Flick did state this about a day ago that did not really leave me at ease about Gundogan's continuity. He stated, I know him very well. I appreciate the player and the person he is. We spoke about everything, but it will stay between us. It's not for you to know. I have a feeling that he might stay. So this statement that Flick gave out, I'm like, this sounds very vague, very gray, very much like a Pep Guardiola type of approach on how he spoke about Julian Alvarez. He said, oh yeah, Julian wants more minutes, we'll talk about it. If he does think that he needs to play more, we'll talk about it, right? It's very vague, very like, okay, do you want to let him go, or what are you trying to say here? Hansi gave out the exact same feeling with Gundogan. Like, let's have some comparisons here. Flick spoke about Pedri, and this is what he said. He's a special player and he can change matches. He could be an option for the second half and he can help us a lot, right? So you can see that those are very different statements. With Gundogan, he was vague. With Pedri, he says he can change matches. He's a special player. Just complimenting him, showing that he needs Pedri. So I believe that Hansi Flick spoke with Gundogan and they said like, yes, okay, we can work together, no problem. But Gundogan's role was going to lessen and maybe sometimes play as a 6 because of how many number 10s they do have. And maybe Gundogan was like, I don't really want to play as a 6. I want to play as a 10. You know, these players do have preferences and we have to understand that. And so I ask you, right, to the Barcelona fans and the people that live on Twitter, do you look for the self-interest of Gundogan or do you look for the self-interest of your football club, Barcelona? And this also take into account how much we could sell the player for, which could be around 15 to 18 million euros. It's going to be pure profit because we brought him in for free. So in total, let's just say worst case scenario, we sell him for 14 million euros, right? At a very cheap price. In total, Barcelona would gain 51 million euros in their accounts, which does include the salary that we are supposed to be paying him for the next 2 years. And so just imagine this, right? Can you imagine Barcelona bringing in a free player and only to just return him a year later to that exact same club, but with a price tag? Barcelona do win financially here. It's a clear win. Now, this whole thing about Gundogan leaving, it did come out of nowhere because the whole idea for Joan Laporta and Deco moving forward to free up the wage bill and to register other players was to just let go of Lenglet, Vitor Roque, and Michael Faye. That was the original idea. We have talked about that before. But the fact that Gundogan has communicated that he is open to a move, it does make the most sense and helps Barcelona the most. Trading in a 10 for another 10 makes complete sense, right? Because Gundogan will be able to leave and we register Dani Olmo automatically. So now let's move on towards Manchester City and their side, and why in the world would a super team like Man City welcome Gundogan again? So like I have stated, Pep Guardiola's style is much closer to what Xavi Hernandez was trying to bring to FC Barcelona. There is a clear gap between Hansi Flick's football and Pep Guardiola's football. Gundogan finds it more attracting to go back to City and to play under Pep Guardiola than under Hansi Flick. If you look at what City did against Chelsea 24 hours ago and what type of lineup they possessed, it was a 3-2-4-1 formation with De Bruyne and Silva as the central attacking midfielders within that four-man attacking line. If you're going to tell me that they only have Silva and De Bruyne to count on within those positions and areas and roles, then of course Man City are going to be looking at Gundogan and his return to bring their captain back. Like, yes, they do have James McCarthy. Yes, they do have Maximo Peroni or Foden to also play as a central attacking midfielder as options. But when you lose a player like Julian Alvarez, somebody who filtered for Kevin De Bruyne when he got injured, because Kevin De Bruyne is an injury prone, then you are going to be rethinking, should we bring in a reinforcement and bring someone in like Gundogan, who has already played at City before? So it's pretty clear. And I believe that Barcelona is also moving on. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the past 2 years, it did seem like Barcelona were just trying to lynch off of whatever Man City did have and their players. Because under Xavi, we were looking at Cancelo, Rodri, Gundogan, Silva, whatever City had, Barcelona wanted a piece of it. Hansi Flick now coming in this summer changes everything and is moving away from that whole idea. And that is why we see Gundogan's exit. And it's going to be a huge boost for Fermin Lopez, a player that all of us want to see because he can score goals. He can provide you great defensive coverage. He is the future and he cannot stop scoring. To me, it seems like Hansi Flick is moving for the future and the rest of the Barcelona board are seeing eye to eye with that. And so the last thing that I do want to state is this: the biggest enemy to the Barcelona fan base and Barcelona is themselves. It's always going to be that, because when I was looking at the reactions and what people had to say on Twitter about this whole thing about Gundogan leaving and how much they hate Barcelona for doing this, I felt a little disappointed because it just shows you the state on just how quickly the Barcelona fan base will let go of their own club. If you look at these statements here coming from G Barza, Glenn Blacha, whatever Barza Spaces, you can see that they are all saying the same thing. One is saying, ever since Gundogan said this after the Clásico loss, the media has been talking rubbish about him. This is the price you have to pay for saying the truth at FC Barcelona. Then somebody said Barcelona is really forcing Gundogan out because he was the only player who actually spoke against the board and the mentality of the players after the Clásico loss. Then we do have another one saying the agenda against Gundogan started after this interview, and I do stand with Gundogan. So look, yes, there is some truth with what these people have been saying. Like, yes, it's so fascinating to hear that a player from Barcelona was criticizing other Barcelona players. We need that. I do agree with what these people had to say. There is some truth. But let me ask you guys this, to the people who think in the exact same way. Do you really think that Barcelona are being run by 13-year-old Twitter users? Do you really think that Barcelona are letting go of Gundogan purely because he spoke bad about the Barcelona players? Like, really think about that. Really use your head and really think about, could that actually be the truth? Do you not once maybe think that Barcelona are doing the best for them? Like placing the club before any other player, which has always been our model? Because we did the same thing with Messi. What makes you think that we're not going to do it with Gundogan? In 2021, we put the club before Lionel Messi, the greatest player of all time. When Messi was leaving because Barcelona simply could not afford him, there were like 50% of the fan base was standing with Messi. They were saying, we are Messi FC. Barcelona is a horrible club. We stand with Messi. When Vitor Roque was being ignored earlier this year, I don't know if you guys remembered, and Xavi Hernandez did not use Vitor Roque, many were saying, we stand with Vitor Roque. We are Vitor FC. Xavi out. Joan Laporta out. Vitor Roque in. Right? Just putting the player over the club. And now look at where Vitor Roque is today. Not even trusted by another coach, which is Hansi Flick. And now with Gundogan leaving, again, the exact same thing. Look how quickly the fan base detaches themselves away from the club. We stand with Gundogan. We are Gundogan FC. Barcelona is horrible. Just creating division within the fan base for no reason is pathetic. Give Barcelona time to implement their ideas. Look at what happened when Messi left. It introduced Lamine Yamal. Look at what happened with Vitor Roque not being trusted during the summer. Pau Victor manager came onto the scenes. Look at what's going to happen with Gundogan leaving. We have just discussed this. Fermin Lopez will be gaining prominence. New players will be registered. It's an upgrade, my friends. Here's also what I did have to say on Twitter. Why is the media stirring up unnecessary drama between Gundogan and Barcelona? They're claiming that Barcelona doesn't want Gundogan because of his criticism of the team's performance against Real Madrid. Give me a break. Now the media is dividing the Barcelona fan base into Gundogan FC versus Barcelona, just like they did with Vitor FC and its narrative. We all saw how that turned out. It's time to trust Barcelona, trust the board, trust Joan Laporta. Barcelona already has 3 to 4 players who can fill the number 10 role, even without Gundogan. With 11 days left in the transfer window, let's focus on what Barcelona is trying to achieve, especially considering the financial constraints imposed by the league. And so, like I have said, like the biggest enemy is the Barcelona fans themselves. They only read the headlines. They make a great mistake. Let's fix something here. You guys forget about the context that Barcelona is in. When Barcelona find the opportunity in the transfer window to release a player that can invite new ones, that can upgrade the team, and especially, right, most importantly, that aligns with the coach's vision, which is now Hansi Flick and not Xavi Hernandez, then you take that opportunity. It's crazy, right? Because if FC Barcelona sold Sergio Roberto last year in the summer of 2023 for free to Inter Miami, right? So let's just say that as an example. Let's say that Barcelona let go of Sergio Roberto to Inter Miami for free, €0. They didn't gain anything, no nothing. And then a year later, in the summer of 2024, Barcelona asked for Sergio Roberto back for, let's just say, for example, 8 to 10 million euros. You know how many people would bash Barcelona today? You know how many people would praise Inter Miami at that time? They would say, wow, Inter Miami just played Barcelona. Inter Miami are geniuses. Barcelona is so stupid. Do you guys realize that that is what Barcelona is doing to Man City today? But nobody wants to praise what Barcelona is doing on that part. Nobody. With Barcelona, it's all negative. If City did this with some other team, they got a player for free, they sold them later for 10 million euros, everybody would praise Manchester City. Everybody. But because it's Barcelona doing this, nobody says a damn thing about it. Nobody. This is the reason why Xavi Hernandez stated 7 to 8 months ago, coaching FC Barcelona or being at Barcelona is the hardest job in the world, because it is. Because there is a straight agenda. There is a automatic hate agenda going up against this club, and we have to resist that. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.